So yes, we were discussing the different phylums of animal kingdom, and we have completed so many. We have completed most of the part of animal kingdom, which was completely a diagram based, right? So the other thing we were discussing vertebrata, right? I told you that vertebrates, they may be a gnathic one or maybe a gnathic one, right? Agnatha means they are jawless, in which we have learned about one example, one single example, that is cyclostoma, petromyzin, right? This is petromyzin. Petromyzin is the cyclostoma, which is jawless, which have a circular sucking type mouth, and they end and start their life in fresh water. This is what I have told you, because the members of all those cyclostomas, they went to the fresh water before spawning. That means this spawning process, it is done in fresh water. For spawning, they migrate to fresh water, right? And after spawning, after some time of spawning, they die. That means they're ending their life in fresh water. And the young ones, after their larval stage, they again migrate back to that marine water. Why? Because the larval ones, they cannot resist that salinity of marine water, right? So they has to complete their initial life stages, that is the larval stages, in fresh water only, right? So this is one of the important thing about cyclostomes, that they end and start their life in fresh water, while the rest of their lifespan is completed in marine water, right? So this is all about Agnatha. Let's come to the Gnatha part, right? Gnatha part has two superclasses, that is Pisces, right? And the other classes, Pisces. In Pisces, we learn about the fishes, right? We have two type of fishes with us, chondrochites, and the other is cartilaginous, right? Osteochites, you can say, right? So these two are the examples of cartilaginous fishes. Chondrichthyes, chondrichthyes are the fishes which are cartilaginous, right? These are the cartilaginous fishes. That means their exoskeleton is made up of cartilage. Cartilaginous fishes. Their exoskeleton is made up of cartilage, right? This is the one important difference between bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes, right? These are cartilaginous fishes, and these two are the examples of bony fishes, right? These are bony fishes and these are cartilaginous fishes. As you can see that they have ventral mouth. Cartilaginous fishes have ventral mouth, right? Their gill slits, they are not covered by operculum. These are the main differences. They do not have air bladder, so because of which they have to swim continuously. Even if they are sleeping, they have to swim, right? So there's continuous swimming process there because they lack air bladder, right? So this is the 2-3 important points about cartilaginous fishes. The two examples given in your NCERT is, first example is of Scloidon. It is also known as dogfish, right? Dogfish. Other is this, right? This is known as Preston's. Preston's is also known as sawfish. Right, these are the common names, and biological names are Scloidon and Prestus. Right, so these are the two important examples given in your NCERT of cartilaginous fishes. What we have learned about cartilaginous fishes, that their exoskeleton is made up of cartilage. Then they do not have operculum on their gill slits. That means their gill slits are not covered by any kind of layer or membrane. Then the other important point is that they do not have air bladder. That's why they have to swim continuously. right? Even if they are sleeping, they have to swim, right? Then we have the other class of Pisces, that is bony fishes, right? Bony fishes, these two are the important examples given in your NCRT of bony fishes. First one is hippocampus. This is hippocampus. As you can see that this hippocampus is somehow horse shape like, right? Its body is resembling that horse shape. So this is also known as seahorse, right? Hippocampus. First one is hippocampus. This is also known as seahorse. And other is catla. Catla is a very common bony fish. Very common. This is catla, right? Let us just understand 2-3 important. Let's just have a differentiate between these bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes. In cartilaginous fishes, we have known that their exoskeleton is made up of cartilage, right? In bony fishes, their exoskeleton is made up of bones. This is so simple. Their name suggested that what kind of their exoskeleton, that which material is the constituent part of their exoskeleton, right? In cartilaginous fishes, they have cartilage type of exoskeleton, and bony fishes, they have bony exoskeleton, right? We have learned in cartilaginous fishes that they do not have operculum on their gill slits, but in bony fishes, operculum is present as a layer on their gill slits. In cartilaginous fishes, we have learned that they do not have air bladder, so they have to swim continuously. But in bony fishes, they have air bladder, so they do not have to swim continuously. They can rest while they are sleeping or while they want to, right? That means they can stay in that stationary position if they want to, right? Continuous swimming is not mandatory for them because they have air bladder, right? So this is the main difference between bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes. We have learned about the examples as well. Let's come to the other classes. Vertebrata. The other class is divided into 4 subclasses, right? That is amphibians, right? And that actually this complete superclass is known as tetrapoda. That means the animals who have tetra means 4, right? And poda we have also learned in this arthropods only. Poda word means appendages, limbs, right? That means tetrapodas are the organisms who have 4 limbs, right? And among these 4 limbs, they can be two of them may be 4 limb and the other 2 may be of hind limb. They function differently, right? So let us just have a small view of all the subclasses of tetrapoda, that is amphibian, reptilia, apes, and mammalia, right? Let us just have with first subclass, that is amphibia. These 2 are the members of amphibia. Right? Amphibia. Amphibia word suggests amphi. Amphi means dual. That means these organisms, they show dual type of habitat or nature. That means they can live in water as well as on land, right? That means they show 2 different kind of habitats, dual habitat. That's why it is known as amphibia, and the members are known as amphibians, right? At first, we have, this is the diagram of salamander, which is known as salamandra in a biological name. Its biological name is salamandra and the common English name is salamander, right? Then we have frog. Biological name is rana, right? And common English name is frog, right? So these are the 2 examples of amphibians. Amphibians' identifying feature is that they have dual habitat. They can live in water and on land as well. Right, then the other is of reptilia. These four are the examples of reptilia. This is the subclass reptilia. Right? Reptilia. All the members are known as reptiles. That means they show crawling movement. They move by crawling. Right? Their body is made of their body is such like they move by crawling. Right? So creeping crawlies are the members of these reptilia. They move by crawling. Right? Reptilia. It means crawling nature. Okay? So we have four examples here which are given in your NCERT. Number one is of chameleon. It is also known as tree lizard. Right? Tree lizard. Other we have crocodilus. Crocodilus is the biological name and common English name is crocodile. Crocodilus, the common English name, and crocodilus is the biological name, right? Then we have chelone. Chelone is the biological name for turtle. This is turtle, right? And the biological name for turtle is chelone. These all are reptiles because they move by crawling, right? Then we have snake. This, you can see the snake. Which type of snake is? Cobra. This is cobra. And the common name is cobra and biological name is naja. Right? This is naja with the biological name. Common name is cobra. This is the snake, cobra. Right? These all are reptiles. Right? So, next subclass is apes. In apes, we have birds with us, right? These four are the examples of apes. These are the example of apes, right? That means birds. That means they have feather and wings. This is the identifying feature. The other thing is that their bones are hollow bones, right? They have pneumatic bones in which the small pores are present. That's why they, because of the presence of this pneumatic bones, their body becomes light. And that is the reason why they can fly. Their forelimbs are converted into feathers, right? And their mouth is modified to beak. This is the identifying feature of apes, right? That their mouth is modified to beak and their forelimbs are modified for feathers, right? So we have four examples which are given in your NCERT. Number one is of vulture. The biological name is nephron, right? Biological name is nephron and the common English name is vulture. Right? Next we have struthio. Struthio, which means ostrich. Common English word is ostrich and biological name is struthio, right? Then we have parrot. Parrot is the English word. I was going to write carrot, but this is not carrot, this is parrot. Right? Parrot. Okay. Biological name is Sticula. Right? Then we have pavo, peacock. Biological name is pavo and common English word is peacock. Okay, so this is all about apes, the examples or the diagrams of apes which are given in your NCERT, they can be asked more commonly because they are given as a diagram in your NCERT, right? So you have to remember the members because example based question can come to you. Say for example, they can say the members in which the mouth is modified to beak, right? And the options are, they can give you any of the member of this complete tetrapoda. So you have to select the members of apes only because in apes, the mouth is modified to beak and forelimbs are modified to fins, right? Then last subclass we have Mammalia. The identifying feature of Mammalia is two things, right? Number one is that, as the name suggests, Mammalia, that means they have mammary glands, right? Mammary glands are there, plus they have hair on their entire body. These are the two important identifying features for subclass Mammalia, right? See, Mammalia, we told you that mammals have mammary glands. Presence of mammary glands is the specific feature of viviparous organisms. Viviparous are those who give birth to young ones. That means they do not lay egg, they directly give birth to young ones, right? And the mammals or the organisms who lay eggs, those are known as oviparous. So Mammalia have viviparous members except one, and that is platypus, right? Platypus is the number one example that we have with us, that is platypus. It is known as, biological name is Ornithorhynchus. Ornithorhynchus, right? And the common English name is platypus. This is the only member which is oviparous, because both the situation can occur. So ovoviviparous, this is the only member who is ovoviviparous. So this is the important example of mammals, right? It may ask you that the member of Mammalia who is ovoviviparous, that means both stages are shown, right? That means they lay egg, but the young ones after the egg hatching, they will be feeding on female by mammary glands, right? So they have mammary glands for feeding, but they lay egg for before egg may hatch, and then the young ones who come out from the egg, they will feed on their mother through mammary glands, right? So platypus is the example which is ovoviviparous. Important example, ovoviviparous. That means both stages are shown by this, right? Next, this is kangaroo. We all know this is kangaroo, right? But the biological name is Macropus. Macropus, and common name is kangaroo. Okay, then third, this is flying bat. Its biological name is Pteropus. Pteropus is the biological name, and commonly it is known as flying bat. Right? Then last we have blue whale. This is blue whale. scientific name is Balanopterus. Balanopterus is the biological name, and commonly it is known as blue whale. So these four are the examples of subclass Mammalia. Right? Their identifying features are presence of mammary gland and presence of hair on entire body surface. Right? And the important example of subclass Mammalia, which is somehow an exception also, because we learned that if mammary glands are present, that it is but obvious that the organism is viviparous in nature. That means they will give birth to you. They will directly give birth to young ones. Egg laying is not there. Egg laying members or organisms are known as oviparous. So all the members of Mammalia are viviparous in nature. But the only exceptional case in subclass Mammalia, which functions as ovoviviparous organism, that is platypus, whose biological name is Ornithorhynchus, right? Ornithorhynchus is platypus, who is ovoviviparous member of subclass Mammalia. So this is all about your vertebrata, right? We have completed this animal kingdom with the certain examples which are given in your NCERT, right? Right, let us just recall one thing about this kingdom, this final apes also, because this is one of the question that has been occur in NEET 2019, and that is one of the important part of apes, that they the digestive system of apes, they have a extra chamber, right? They have gizzards in their digestive system. So this is the important statement given in your NCERT, and it is the also the identifying feature of apes, right? The gizzard is an extra chamber which is present in the digestive system of apes. This is the question, the statement based question comes in NEET 2000, has came in NEET 2019, right? So this, they have an extra digestive chamber that is known as gizzard. Right? So this is important thing which has been left in this apes. Okay. So now we have completed the chapter. Right? Animal kingdom is completed. All the diagrams we have done in this session. Right?